Hey guys, what's going on? Sincere here with whoissincere.com and the All Rights Matter show. Listen, I want to bring you a quick little story today. It's quite unfortunate here, but there was a special agent. I don't know how to pronounce his first name, so I'll just say Special Agent Frazier of the TBI, that's the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations. He was killed today in a control buy scenario where, in case you guys that don't know, where a special agent will set up a controlled purchase of narcotics with an informant that's been working within that part of the community. So normally when they do that, they're able to ascertain information as to who's buying the larger amounts of drugs. It's a way for you people to understand, what I'm saying. It's a way for you to be able to find out who the plug is. So in this particular situation, and which is actually happening a lot now, the special agent, was there. He was, I believe, in the front seat with the informant, and the person that came and got in the car was supposed to be purchasing the drugs from the special agent. Instead, it turned into a robbery situation. So in this robbery situation, now I actually, I'm not sure if he was actually selling the drugs or actually purchasing the drugs, but either way, both, whether it's the cash or the drugs, both are commodities. So the person that was getting in the car was trying to, rob these people of either the drugs or the cash. The unfortunate thing about this, and the reason why I'm focusing on this story, and rest in peace to this officer here, but the reason why I'm really focusing on this story is I want to talk about these drug programs. I want to talk about the war on drugs, and just very briefly, I want to put my 2 cents in. It's because of the war on drugs we have situations like this. Let's be very clear. Economic conditions, and also the fact that the war on drugs, is pretty much illegal. But economic conditions, though, have set the tone for psychological conditions that would put these people in more vulnerable states to be drug users. Now, does that mean that, all poor people are drug users and all rich people don't do drugs at all? No, that's not what it means. It means that when you're in a lower income status and you're dealing with more stress, more depression, more oppression, that community is more likely to be within, the drug culture. And they're also the ones that are policed more, because normally we're talking about a lower income to a lower middle class income community. So with that being said, it's just my opinion that when you take away this overtone of, oh, drugs are illegal, what you put in your body is illegal, and I should regulate that, and I should regulate it at all costs. When you go into that mindset, I believe that's overreaching. I believe it's unproductive, and it doesn't really do anything. Instead, you take people like this, a family man, this is somebody's son, this is somebody's, uncle, or whatever the case may be. You take a family man like this, though, and, you place him in a situation where, and hey, look, let's be honest. He wanted to be placed in a situation. He applied for the position. He got the position. He worked hard to earn the position. So there's kudos on his part. But if we didn't have this war on drugs, this man would still be alive. He would still be alive, period. And maybe the person that was purchasing in the back seat, whether he was, if he was a user instead of a dealer, maybe this person may be getting some rehabilitation. So this is what I'm saying. The way that we're approaching these situations is dangerous for both sides. It's not just dangerous for the people that are being locked up in the communities for narcotics, whether you're talking about the low-level dealer, you're talking about the actual drug user, or you're talking about the quote-unquote plug. So, it's not really just about those people, but it's also about people like, Special Agent Frazier here. He's only 35 years old. I'm sure that he thought he was doing a great job and doing the right thing, and in a lot of senses, and maybe some of it was the right thing, but the whole war on drugs and the way that it's approached is not the right thing, because then we risk losing the lives of American citizens who don't need to be dead, just because of a drug purchase. So he lived his whole life, he accomplished so much his life within his lifetime, and to die, pretty much by getting shot in a car from some junkie, somebody that's probably a junkie, and that's sad. It's tremendously sad, and it's uncalled for, it's unnecessary, and I believe that's why there's so many people that are asking for reform, not just in the criminal justice system, but they're also asking for reform on the war on drugs altogether. If you look at Colorado, let's just take Colorado for an example. The media doesn't want to talk to you about Colorado. Colorado is, I call it a gentrified state because now everything is super expensive in Colorado. Everything. You can get a one-bedroom apartment for like, I don't know, $1,200 to $1,500. But everything is so expensive right now because of how, I'm just going to be honest with you, because of the fact that things are more safe now. The crime has drastically dropped, it's plummeted just because of the fact that they've legalized marijuana alone. Marijuana, just one controlled substance that they've legalized, and we've looked at the crime rate actually plummet. So that tells you something, that if we legalize drugs, it's not going to create more crime. No, it's actually going to create less crime. Now, will you have to deal with the actions of people who take drugs and then go out and commit a crime? Yes, you'll have to deal with those actions. But those actions are something that are much more manageable than the actions that come out of desperation. The actions that come out of desperation to either get the drug or the money, or, get the money for the drugs, those acts of desperation normally end up costing lives. And here we have another clear-cut example of a person who's lost his life because of some idiot, acting out of desperation, robbing someone so that he can, do whatever he wants with the money, maybe go get high, go spend it at a strip club, whatever, he was planning on doing. I'm not sure, so at the end of the day, a human life is lost because of the war on drugs. So I just want to know, when are we going to stop this? Special Agent Frazier, he should still be alive. I don't ever really do stories like this where police officers, die in the line of duty, because I work on the other side so much, as far as what the police officers across America are actually doing to American citizens and what they're getting away with by hiding behind, the blue line and the shield. So I normally work on that side, but I'm a human, guys. That's why my show is called the All Rights Matter Show. I believe in human rights, all rights for everybody, whether it's cops, whether it's black people, whether it's Asian people, Latino people, it doesn't matter to me. We're all given the same set of God-given rights. So this man had a right to live. He really had a right to live, and that was taken from him. And I think we have to start questioning our policies and putting agents in this position. Look, if you're putting agents in a position where they're doing, we'll say, a campaign, where they're trying to maybe do a drug bust to take down, 40, 50, 60 people, maybe a whole drug ring. Well, in order to do that, I'm going to tell you guys, how it works. A lot of the times they're going to have to do extensive research. They're going to have to do a lot of profiling. And within their headquarters office, it's like when you're watching the TV, you have your whiteboard that's up and you have your names that are connected to this person and work on this avenue and work in this part and who's the plug over here. And they figure all these things out and they put it together in a big puzzle. And then they normally come, do a raid, take down at least half to, if not half or more of those guys all in one shot, and then they slowly pick up the other guys they weren't able to get on the initial raid. Now, that may seem like it's a good idea to some people, but ask yourself this: has it worked? Is America more safe because of these practices happening all across the United States? And the answer is clear: no. America's not more safe. There's nothing more safe in America from the day that they declared a war on drugs. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So because they want to control the substances that go in your body, people are losing their lives. Special agents, people in the streets, because of the fact that these things are deemed illegal. And that's what I'm saying. These guys are literally, they're putting together this map of, who's doing what within the community or within this city that they may be trying to do a big drug bust in. As they're putting together that map, during this whole time, they're exchanging cash, they're exchanging drugs. So you have to wonder, where does the line stop at? If you're a special agent and you're out there, and I'm not throwing any dirt on Special Agent Frazier's name, because I don't know what he was doing. I don't know anything personal about this man to talk bad about him, but I'm just saying the overall culture. So if you're working in an environment where you're doing a bust that's going to take 8 to 9 months, but during that 8 to 9 months, you're making a controlled purchase or a controlled sell, once a week or once every 2 weeks, at what point in time do you not feel a little bit guilty about actually being the one to supply the drugs? Because technically, that would make the actual law enforcement officers that are actually involved in that investigation, that would turn them into the quote-unquote plug. So where is our line at that says, hey, this is right, this is wrong, this is what you're supposed to do, this is what you're not supposed to do? I believe that when you have agents who are selling drugs to people that are the plug in the community, it's a huge problem, because technically these people are getting addicted and getting high off of drugs that are being pushed by the government. Whether it's a local government, state government, or a federal government, these drugs are being pushed into the community because they want to find out who's going to buy them. So you can make a forced buy situation and all this kind of stuff. And when I say forced buy, I don't mean, somebody's holding a gun to someone's head at gunpoint and saying, hey, you're going to buy this right now. But, you can take somebody and turn them into an opportunist and say, hey, look, I got a key going right now for about 9. And they'll say, wait, hold on, a key for 9? Now, this person may have never dealt drugs a day in his life. He just may own an automotive shop. But he's heard about keys going for, 13, 14, 15, maybe 11.5, the lowest. And now he hears a key going for 8 or 9. Well, shoot. He's going to tell one of his friends about it. And they're going to, hey, maybe we should go get this thing. Maybe we can make a lot of money, make $30,000, $40,000 real quick. So these turn into crimes of opportunity. And that goes beyond narcotics. That goes beyond the war on drugs. So it turns into a forced buy situation where you're not being, forced to actually do it, but your arm's being twisted a little bit because of the great significance of how much cash could be made, how much, cash that's not going to be taxed either, that's going to be made. So, I don't think that these tactics work. I think that they're very counterproductive to, helping to rehabilitate anybody in the community that has a legitimate drug problem. And I think we really need to review this entire system and how we approach it. And we need to look at some of the models that we're watching in states like Washington and Colorado and others, in California as well, other states that are experiencing legalization. So it's making it better. It's making better communities. People are walking around more free. They don't feel like they're being profiled as much, and they don't feel as much victimization. And I think that we need to take a note from these neighboring states and say, wait a second, maybe we are doing too much. Maybe our focus is in the wrong place. Maybe our focus should be on rehabilitation efforts more. Can you imagine if we spent the amount of money that we spend on special agents, equipment, militarized equipment, and the man hours for these investigations, and the money that the government is actually spending on drugs to supply for these investigations, and the cash that they're spending? If we took all those resources, broke all of those down, and provided rehabilitation services and actually counselors that went out and talked to people within the community, can you imagine what kind of world that would be? So that's what I would like to propose, and what I would like to actually say about, Special Agent Frazier's death here is, it's quite unfortunate. He just joined the TBI this year, and he's already gone. So this is, I blame it all on the guy that pulled that trigger, but I also blame this on the policies that have been put in place to put him and folks like him in dangerous situations unnecessarily. So that's my take on it, guys. Rest in peace to Special Agent Frazier. And, here we have another, homicide happening over the war on drugs. So that's what it is, guys. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share it out there. And for all you people that say, hey, Sherrod, you never focus on, the deaths of the officers and, things like that. And you say kind of, harsh things every once in a while. I'm not a harsh person. I'm just a very realistic person. And it's hard for people to grasp sometimes. And I don't play Democrat and Republican. I play the center of the line and I say what's right and what's wrong. So at the end of the day, this man was, quote unquote, doing the right thing because he was doing his job, but his job entailed policies that were wrong, for America, wrong for the communities. They're proven failed policies. And at the end of the day, this is something that we have to stop putting our American citizens through, whether it be Special Agent Frazier or the people in the community that need more rehabilitation and economic resources to flourish instead of creating opportunistic situations. So that's my take on it, guys. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you for viewing. Stay alert. Stay alive.